Hi, Shemai, Sitachi, Croesoy, Chris Dewey. What is cracking, boys, girls, ladies, and gentlemen? Today we have something a little bit different because I sat down and I thought, well, I wanted to do something from a 10th Fighting Fantasy video, and I was like, well, I quite like top 10s. Let's do a top 10. So that's what we're doing today, guys. So this top 10 is going to be, well, of the 10 books I've talked about, it's going to be the first 10 in the Wizard series, because obviously Puffin has, they put out books in different orders, and I think Scholastic have. So this is going to be the top 10 of the books I've read. Now, if you've watched the videos, you're gonna have an idea of which books are going to be the top 3, but maybe not the rest of the 7. So yeah, I just thought this would be a fun little idea. I've never done a top 10. This was the first time I've ever rated these books in order, and I did honestly have fun. I had fun. I'm not even entirely sure if I've left a review for Tranty Hills on Goodreads, so that's fun. But yeah, so we got a top 10. Why? Because like I said, I enjoyed them. And I suppose this could be a sort of buyer's guide as well, which books I'd recommend, which books I just wouldn't. And it's going to start off number 10, work its way up to number 1. So yeah, so without further ado, let's get into the top 10. So we've got number 10. 10 at the bottom of the list has to be Creature of Havoc. And if you watched my review for the book, my cheeky chat, you'd understand why. I felt it was convoluted and awkward. It was difficult just for the sake of being difficult. There wasn't any real reason behind it. It was just annoying to play. And there was a point when I was stuck in an infinite loop. I sat down and I thought, this book is really annoying me. So I just read a guide. Now this is the only book I actually used a guide just to get me through it, because I just found it to be really, really annoying. Yeah, I didn't particularly like this one. And I always liked it as a child. I liked the idea of playing as a Creature of Havoc, but I didn't like this book. So that's why it's number 10. Number 9 is House of Hell. And now this is another one that I've always loved. I've always loved the idea, the concept, the art. But yeah, this is one of the books, like Creature of Havoc as well. You just sort of get punished an awful lot for exploring a house. There's a lot of references. You'll go down a corridor and 10 references and you'll game over no matter what you do. So by that point you've lost the original reference. So you just have to start from like an earlier point. It's a really annoying book. It's just an annoying book to read. And although I did kind of like it, I just thought, this is just annoying. You know, it's not difficult, it's just annoying, and it is what it is. This book is going to be people's favourites, but it's just not mine. But like I said, this is all going to be my own personal opinion. So that is why this book is number 9. Now, number 8 might upset some people, but number 8 has to be Warlock of Firetop Mountain, the very first book, the book that I actually praised in the review. I said this book is really good, and by and large this book is really good. It's just the maze drags it way back down. Because this is the thing, up until like the second half of the book, it's really good. You're going through this goblin barracks, you're fighting them off, you're fighting all these green skins, and then boom, you're hit with like this really annoying, awkward, difficult, convoluted maze that's there purely to pad out the book. And after reading all the rest of these books, you can sort of see where you understand that that's why the maze is there. It's not there because this guy genuinely has a maze. It's there because it's just there to pad out the story. And that's what irritated me, I suppose. Now, this book isn't just annoying or difficult or bad. It's just sort of, there are better books. There are better books than this one. And that's just how I felt, you know. I did enjoy this book. I did actually enjoy this book. But, you know, that's why it's number 8 on the list. Because of the maze. So, number 7 is going to be Citadel of Chaos. I did also like this book. It's just, the adventure is really short. You have the option to slay, I think, 3 orcish children. And there's too much depth to a lot of the encounters, so that's why the story's quite short. But on top of that, when you read these books, you can sort of put together like some sort of like ecosystem within your head where you can understand why all these creatures are living in the same area. With this one, it's just not there. You know, you have this guy living in the tower, but like on one of the lower floors, there are these like ghost heads that kill you. They will game over you if you could try to go through. So how is he living upstairs? If you get me, it's sort of, and there's like a hydra living in the corner of a room. It's sort of like, I enjoy the book. I'm not going to say it's a bad book. It's just, it's very short. It's too in depth. and just the encounters didn't seem to make sense all the time. Yeah, it was chaotic, but it didn't really make sense. And that's why this book is number 7. So number 6 is Forest of Doom. Forest of Doom. Now, I didn't mind this book. I didn't mind it. It's just you're walking through a forest, and you need to find 2 parts of Warhammer. Like I said in the video, why are we getting involved in this war? On top of that, I don't know if I mentioned it, but a lot of the encounters don't really seem to make sense. For a forest, there's a pterodactyl, there's a giant, for instance. And although the book was an enjoyable read for the most part, it's just the little things, you know. It doesn't feel like you're inside. Well, you're not inside a dungeon, are you? You're not in a castle. You're just in a forest. Just leave the forest, bro. It's not even our war. Why are we fighting it? It's just these kind of things. It felt very much like a side quest rather than a main quest, and that is really why this one's number 6 in the list. So number 5, Crypta the Sorcerer. Now this was a difficult one because I actually really enjoyed Crypta the Sorcerer. It was a cool adventure. It sort of feels like you do a lot in the adventure itself, and there are really good fights. The only thing that I suppose I didn't really like about this book is that you get item checked an awful lot towards the end, and a lot of it, especially if like you cheat and you just say you've got the item, then it's like, oh, have you got this item? And if you do, you get game overed, kind of thing. It's that sort of thing, you know. I'm not a fan of item tracking. I'm not a fan of like quizzing you on knowledge. Yeah, everything is signposted. You know what you need to collect. You know what you need to remember. But at the same time, I don't like having to remember stuff. I don't like having to collect items. I don't mind collecting items. It's just, oh, do you remember when the sorcerer's father died? And it's like, no, actually I don't. And this is kind of the thing. The adventure itself is really good. I enjoyed the adventure, and to be honest, anything past this point, you know, Crypta the Sorcerer and 4321, all them books, I'd recommend getting. It's just Crypta the Sorcerer. It's the item check and it's letting it down, man. It's constantly being item checked towards the end, but that is why Crypta the Sorcerer is number 5 on my list. Number 4 holds a special place in my heart. You know, I like this book. It is Caverns of the Snow Witch. I really enjoy this book. I've actually got the Scholastic version, the Puffin version, and the Wizards version. I was gonna do like an entirely different thing for my YouTube channel, where I get all the versions in and compare the differences. In the end, I decided against it because it would just take up far too much space. But yeah, Caverns of the Snow Witch. I really like this one. I like the snowy setting. It's obviously going to hold a special place in my heart because it's the very first video I made. Yeah, Caverns of the Snow Witch. It's a fun little adventure. It's very segmented. You know, the Snow Witch isn't that imposing, but the adventure's quite fun. You encounter like a mind flayer from D&D. I can't remember what they're called. It's like Brain Slayer, something like that. Cool encounter. Was it Stubbs and Red Swift, the dwarf and the elf? They're fun. They're okay characters. And it just felt like an interesting journey, you know? It just felt quite good. I enjoyed this book. Let's just say that. It was a good book. So that is why Caverns of the Snow Witch is number 4. I just really like that. So we are now on to the top 3. Now these 3 books I would just recommend flat out. They are books that I consider to be quite good. I prefer these books to the others. And yeah, so if you're watching this video, just trying to figure out what books you should get, maybe you're not even thinking about collecting them all, then I'd say get any of these 3, if not all of these 3, or maybe you can get 1 or 2 and then chuck in anything that isn't the bottom 3 in. You know, it's that sort of thing. So when it comes down to the top 3, why not actually get into it and talk about number 3. Number 3 is going to be the Shamutanti Hills. It is the first book in, I think, a series of 4. It's the Sorcery books, and I really like this one. This is genuinely just a really good book. I really like the art. I really like the story arcs. All in all, this book is just superb. In all honesty, if I hadn't already made my mind up about the first and second books, this book could have like really posed the threat. This could be like my top book. It's not. This book is. I just really enjoyed it. And as a series of books, any quest feels like a big quest, you know? But yeah, that is why this book is number 3. I just really enjoyed it. If you want to know more, obviously check out the video, because there is a video on this bad boy. But yeah, so without further ado, let's talk about number 2. Number 2 is Death Trap Dungeon. Now, Death Trap Dungeon, I really like this one. It is a really good book. It's just really cool. You don't get punished at all for exploring, which I found amazing. This is honestly something that all the books should do. And it's just such a nice little read. You go through a dungeon. It's like you go through different trials. I don't really think you save the day either. You just win, don't you? You just win, you walk out, and you're rich. And this book is just honestly so good. I really enjoyed this one. And this one was number 1 for a long, long time for me. This was the one that I held every other book up to. I was like, is this book as good as Death Trap Dungeon? And unfortunately, only one book really did stand up to it and succeed it. And that book is number 1. But number 2, yeah, Death Trap Dungeon. I love this one. And that is why Death Trap Dungeon is number 2. So, we're talking about book number 1. My all-time favourite, the one that I would recommend to anyone thinking about getting any of these books. Now, if you hadn't already figured it out, book number 1 is City of Thieves. Now, this book is just amazing. I love this book so much. It's like you're just going shopping in a fantasy world, and it's something that none of the other books let you do. Like, the other books have you, like, just slaying monsters left, right, and centre. In this book, you're just shopping in, like, a city, and that's about it. And it's amazing. It's done really funny. It is quite funny. There is an Easter egg, and I'm not sure if there's more. There's definitely one. There's like even like characters who mention characters from other books. It's just such a good read. Like the quest is fun. The characters are funny. The enemy, the big bad guy, is actually quite intimidating. He is genuinely a threat. He has the potentiality to wipe out. I can't even remember what the small trader. I want to say Silverton. But he can wipe out that little town without really any sort of effort. And it's just such a good book. Because, like, with the other books, like I said, you're always slaying stuff. But in this one, you're just shopping, and then you leave. And then you're, like, prepared. It's just a good book. I would 100% recommend this book to anyone. Anyone at all. And, yeah, this is just... I don't know if this book's ever going to move from my top 10. From number 1 on my top 10, but we'll see in the future anyway. So yeah, that is my top 10. I didn't really go into much depth because obviously I've got videos on all 10 of these books. Just check them out if you want to know more about a particular book. All my videos are mostly positive. I don't really rip into any of these books because obviously when I read them for what they are. I don't really compare them to other books. And they're all pretty good books in general. They're all pretty entertaining. But yeah, my top 3, ones I would 100% recommend to anybody thinking about what book to get. Bottom 3, I would not recommend to anybody thinking about what book to get. Well, especially what book to get first. And anything between them, yeah, they're safe buys. So that's about it, guys. So I didn't do number 11 today, not because I'm stopping doing the series. Number 11's in the post. I've ordered number 11, and it's not because it's not here yet either. It's because I just fancied a break, you know. I just fancied a break, and I wanted to do something special for number 10. You know, I might not even do number 11 next week because I've got another book that was also going to be something special for number 10, but I just haven't done it yet. So it's like that kind of thing. I might just sort of split them into series, with like 1 to 10 being series 1 and then 11 to 20 being series 2. That could be a thing. I'm not really sure. I'm not going to quit. I'm not stopping doing these videos. I do actually really enjoy reading these books. It's just, yeah, I just fancy doing something special for number 10. So I did the top 10. So, yeah. And if you're wondering where the old Minecraft gameplay is, I figured, you know, I've got some stuff I wanted to do on Animal Crossing. I just needed to sort out my flowers. So that's what I did. It's not much, it's not a whole lot, but that's exactly what I did in this video. So yeah, you know, if you did like this video, feel free to comment, like, subscribe. Obviously this channel is still growing, it's in dire need of growth. So yeah, it all adds up. So either way, I hope you have a lovely day. Hope you have a lovely week, hope you have a lovely month, and if I don't see you again, hope you have a lovely life. So without further ado, take care.